This is CBA News broadcasting from Hargeisa. My name is Wangui Ngugi. Somaliland statesman Dr. Mohamed Abdi Gabose decried the state of affairs in the country and called for a traditional communal conference to salvage the nation. Dr. Gabose, who came out of a long political hibernation, said that he was losing sleep over the precarious state of the nation. The veteran statesman said the situation of the country resembled the deep division and resentment that resulted from the rash union between Somaliland and Somalia in 1960 and warned of even worse consequences. Dr. Gabose laid the responsibility of the looming doom at the doorstep of President Musa Bihi, who he accused of deploying divide and rule tactics. He said the government is captured by an oligarchy called the Rainbow, which is appropriated the name of specific clans. Dr. Gabose, on the other hand, decried that the ideals of the nation have been shaken to the core. He said legitimate grievances are growing in all corners of the country and they are not acknowledged by the administration. He mentioned the struggling reform calls of Ali Khalif Galeid and Professor Ahmed Ismail Samata as examples of the pitiful state of the country. Mohamed Abdi Gabose saw hope in the traditional communal conference that is called to take place in Burco, saying it could be a national salvation conference. However, he proposed an expanded reconciliation process for all Somaliland clans, starting with the central clan family that is bitterly divided. The state of Qatar has delivered much-needed humanitarian supplies for flood victims to the government of Somalia on Monday, under the directives of the Amir Sheikh Tamim bin Hamad Al Thani. The Qatar Fund for Development, in cooperation with the Standing Committee for Rescue and Relief Works and Humanitarian Aids, airlifted 42 tons of humanitarian supplies to Somalia flood victims. Khalifa bin Jassim Al Kuwari, who is the Director General of Qatar Fund for Development, handed over the 42 tons of supplies transported from Doha by Emir Air Force Transport plane. They were received by Somalia government officials led by the Minister for Emergency and Humanitarian Assistance, Hamza Said Hamza. The supplies include medicine, tents, mosquito nets, and nutritional food items. Speaking at Aden Abdullah International Airport in Mogadishu, Minister Hamza said the supplies will be immediately delivered to the affected areas, mainly in Hiran, Bay and Gedo regions. This emergency relief and assistance comes within the framework of the humanitarian role that is played by the state of Qatar to help its brothers in Somalia. U.S. Africa Command Commander Army General Stephen Townsend has arrived in Somalia and he has visited U.S. troops and other global leaders, a move that comes amid a slight uptick in airstrikes against violent extremists in Somalia this year. Townsend, who had headed the command since July, said in a statement that the purpose of his engagements is to meet with important African, international and U.S. key leaders, to visit U.S. troops and to assess the progress of the U.S. campaign in East Africa and against the Al-Shabaab. He was slated to visit Somalia's President Mohamed Abdullahi Farmajo today, according to AFRICOM. Townsend claimed that violent extremist groups including Al-Shabaab, an Al-Qaeda offshoot, and ISIS Somalia aim to target the United States and pose a threat to U.S. interests and African partners. So far, AFRICOM has conducted 55 airstrikes in 2019 against violent extremist organizations. The command estimates that there are between 5,000 to 7,000 Al-Shabaab fighters in Somalia and approximately 150 to 300 ISIS Somalia militants. Somalia's military court has sentenced 8 Al-Shabaab suspects, among them 1 woman, to several years in prison and life imprisonment. They were sentenced for being members of the militant group and for conducting bomb attacks in Mogadishu. The military court sentenced Ahmed Abdukadir Ahmed to life imprisonment, while 5 others, who include Abdurrahman Nur Mohamed Jimale, Safi Issei Awo, Yasin Mohamed Abtidun, Abdishakur Ali Mahmoud, and Farhan Adan Yusuf Wahlie were handed 15 years in jail. Meanwhile, Farhan Farah Mahmoud Fildo and Hassan Sheikh Abdullahi Abuka were each sentenced to 8 years in prison according to their case. However, the military court ordered Abdi Kadar Mire Ahmed to be released for lack of evidence. Al-Shabaab has promised for the first time to release a video of its commander, Ahmed Omar Abu Ubaida, according to media organizations affiliated to the group. This will be the first time the group will be showing the face of its leader in 6 years. Mr. Omar Abu Ubaida, who took over the leadership of the group from Ahmed Godan, the notorious commander that was killed by the US troops in 2015, has been on the hiding for 4 years. According to its official radio station, Radio Andalus, the militant group will show the face of Abu Ubaida later tonight, saying the leader will be addressing key issues, among them a report on the Al-Shabaab attack on a US military base. The new film, Al-Shabaab says, is set to show the US airstrikes against the Somali people, who they say are constantly bombarding them using aircrafts. In his speech on September, Omar only sent an audio which was circulated to its affiliate media. At the time, the Al-Shabaab commander had warned Kenya against the ongoing maritime border row, which has seen Somalia and Kenya lock horns at the International Court of Justice. Sudan is discussing several scenarios to accompany planned subsidies for food and other basic goods. Speaking to the media, Prime Minister Abdallah Hamdok said on Monday that cash transfers were one scenario discussed to offset a cut in food and other subsidies. Shortage of food and bread in Sudan, coupled with hefty price rises, brought people out in protest and led to the toppling of longtime ruler Omar al-Bashir in April. Bashir's government ran up enormous budget deficits by subsidizing fuel, bread, and other products. In September this year, Hamdok's government announced a 9-month economic rescue plan that was aimed at curbing rampant inflation while ensuring supplies of basic goods. The plan would keep bread and petroleum subsidies in place until at least June 2020. Prime Minister Hamdok said that the plan includes subsidies for drugs, medical services, and education. He also said Sudan was still in talks with the World Bank and the International Monetary Fund about the 2020 budget year. Thank you for watching CBA News in Brief. Join Abdullahi Hassan tonight with more and detailed news.